When terminating conduit in an outdoor junction box, using 2 lock nuts is acceptable if the junction box is of a type approved for use with conduit. Lock nuts, when properly tightened, create a secure and weatherproof seal. While Meyers hubs are frequently used to terminate multiple conduits into a single junction box, they are not mandatory. 2 lock nuts on each conduit can provide sufficient seal and support for the conduit. The key is to ensure the lock nuts are tightened correctly to prevent water or moisture from entering the junction box. Consider the environment and the specific requirements of the installation when deciding whether to use lock nuts or Meyers hubs. Both methods can provide a reliable termination, but proper installation is crucial. For example, if the junction box is subject to significant vibration, a Meyers hub might be a more secure option. Conversely, in a less demanding environment, 2 properly tightened lock nuts may be entirely adequate. When installing lock nuts, ensure they are wrench tightened to the manufacturer's specifications. Avoid over-tightening, as this can damage the lock nuts or the junction box. Also, inspect the lock nuts regularly for corrosion or damage, and replace them as needed. Consider the type of conduit being used. Rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, and electrical metallic tubing each have different requirements for termination. For rigid metal conduit, lock nuts should be made of steel or malleable iron. For electrical metallic tubing, lock nuts can be made of steel or aluminum. Also, consider the size of the conduit. Larger conduits will require larger lock nuts. Always consult the manufacturer's specifications for the appropriate size and type of lock nut for the conduit being used. In addition, consider the type of environment where the junction box is located. If the junction box is located in a corrosive environment, use stainless steel lock nuts. Also, use a sealant to protect the lock nuts from corrosion. Ensure the junction box is also rated for the environment. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides guidelines for selecting and installing electrical equipment. Adhering to the NEC ensures electrical installations are safe and compliant. Consult the NEC for specific requirements related to conduit termination and junction box installation. When using a Meyers hub, follow the manufacturer's instructions for installation. Meyers hubs are designed to provide a watertight seal, but proper installation is essential. Ensure the hub is securely attached to the junction box and that the conduit is properly seated within the hub. Also, use a sealant to prevent water from entering the junction box through the hub. When selecting a Meyers hub, consider the size and number of conduits that need to be terminated. Meyers hubs are available in a variety of sizes and configurations. Choose a hub that is appropriately sized for the installation. Also, consider the type of conduit being used. Meyers hubs are available for rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, and electrical metallic tubing. Select a hub that is compatible with the type of conduit being used. Consider the grounding requirements for the electrical system. The NEC requires that all metal conduits and junction boxes be properly grounded. Ensure the lock nuts of the Meyers hub provide a reliable grounding path. Also, use a grounding bushing to connect the conduit to the junction box. A grounding bushing provides a low impedance path for fault current, which helps to protect people and equipment from electrical shock. Consider the accessibility of the junction box. The NEC requires that all junction boxes be readily accessible. Ensure the junction box is not obstructed by other equipment or materials. Also, ensure the junction box is located in a well-lit area. Proper lighting makes it easier to inspect and maintain the electrical system. Consider the labeling requirements for the electrical system. The NEC requires that all electrical equipment be properly labeled. Ensure the junction box is labeled with its voltage, amperage, and other relevant information. Also, label the conduits that enter and exit the junction box. Proper labeling helps to ensure the safety and efficiency of the electrical system. Always follow local electrical codes and regulations when installing electrical equipment. Local codes and regulations may be more stringent than the NEC. Consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector to ensure the electrical installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Remember that proper electrical installation is critical for safety. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician to perform the work. Electricity can be dangerous, and improper installation can lead to electrical shock, fire, or other hazards. The decision to use Locknuts or a Meyers hub often comes down to preference in the specific requirements of the installation. Some electricians prefer the simplicity and lower cost of Locknuts, while others prefer the added security and watertightness of Meyers hubs. Ultimately, the best choice depends on the application and the electrician's experience and judgment. Inspect the completed installation carefully. Ensure all Locknuts are tightened properly and all connections are secure. Also, check for any signs of damage or corrosion. If any problems are found, correct them immediately. Regular inspection and maintenance can help to ensure the long-term reliability and safety of the electrical system. Consider the use of thread sealant. Applying thread sealant to the threads of the conduit and Locknuts can help to create a watertight seal. Choose a thread sealant that is compatible with the type of conduit and Locknuts being used. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for application. Using a thread sealant is particularly important in wet or corrosive environments. In addition to the mechanical connection, consider the electrical bonding requirements. The NEC requires that all metal enclosures be electrically bonded together to create a continuous grounding path. Ensure the Locknuts or the Meyers hub provide a reliable electrical bond between the conduit and the junction box. If necessary, use a grounding bushing or other bonding device to supplement the connection. Consider the use of a listed and labeled junction box. The NEC requires that all electrical equipment be listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory. Ensure the junction box is listed and labeled for its intended use. The listing and labeling mark indicates that the equipment has been tested and found to be safe and reliable. Consider the environmental conditions at the installation site. If the junction box is located in an area that is subject to extreme temperatures, humidity, or corrosive chemicals, choose a junction box and conduit fittings that are specifically designed for these conditions. The materials used in the construction of the junction box and fittings should be resistant to the effects of the environment. Also, consider the use of a protective coating to further protect the equipment from the environment. Proper planning and preparation are essential for a successful electrical installation. Before starting any work, carefully review the plans and specifications for the project. Identify any potential problems or challenges and develop a plan to address them. Gather all the necessary materials and tools before starting the work. And always follow safe work practices. Consider the long-term maintenance requirements of the electrical system. Choose materials and equipment that are durable and easy to maintain. Also, develop a maintenance schedule to ensure the electrical system is properly inspected and maintained. Regular maintenance can help to prevent problems and extend the life of the electrical system. The quality of the materials and workmanship used in an electrical installation directly affects its safety and reliability. Always use high-quality materials and follow best practices for installation. Don't cut corners or compromise on safety. A well-designed and properly installed electrical system will provide years of reliable service. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a licensed electrician. A licensed electrician has the training and experience to perform electrical work safely and correctly. Attempting to perform electrical work without the proper qualifications can be hazardous and may violate local codes and regulations. When choosing an electrician, check their credentials and references. Make sure they are licensed and insured. Also, ask for examples of their previous work. A good electrician will be happy to provide you with references and examples of their work. When working with electricity, always follow these safety precautions. Turn off the power to the circuit before working on it. Use insulated tools and equipment. Wear safety glasses and gloves. Never work on electrical equipment in wet or damp conditions. And never work alone. Have someone nearby who can help in case of an emergency. The NEC provides specific requirements for the installation of electrical equipment in hazardous locations. Hazardous locations are areas where there is a risk of explosion or fire due to the presence of flammable gases, vapors, or dust. If the junction box is located in a hazardous location, it must be explosion-proof and meet other specific requirements of the NEC. Consult the NEC for detailed information on the requirements for electrical installations in hazardous locations. When selecting electrical equipment for use in hazardous locations, choose equipment that is specifically designed and certified for those locations. Explosion-proof equipment is designed to contain any explosion that may occur within the equipment, preventing it from igniting the surrounding atmosphere. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions for installing and maintaining explosion-proof equipment. The NEC also provides requirements for the installation of electrical equipment in healthcare facilities. Healthcare facilities have unique electrical requirements to ensure the safety of patients and staff. If the junction box is located in a healthcare facility, it must meet the specific requirements of the NEC for healthcare facilities. Consult the NEC for detailed information on the requirements for electrical installations in healthcare facilities. When selecting electrical equipment for use in healthcare facilities, choose equipment that is specifically designed and certified for those facilities. Healthcare facilities often require equipment with special features, such as isolated power systems and ground fault protection, to minimize the risk of electrical shock. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions for installing and maintaining electrical equipment in healthcare facilities. The proper selection and installation of electrical equipment is critical for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Always follow the NEC and other applicable codes and regulations. And when in doubt, consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector. Proper grounding is an important safety measure that helps to protect people from electrical shock. A properly grounded electrical system provides a low resistance path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or fuse and de-energizing the circuit. The NEC specifies the requirements for grounding electrical systems. Ensure the electrical system is properly grounded in accordance with the NEC. The grounding system should be inspected regularly to ensure it is functioning properly. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect electrical circuits from overloads and short circuits. When an overcurrent occurs, the overcurrent protection device will trip, interrupting the flow of current and preventing damage to the electrical system. The NEC specifies the requirements for overcurrent protection devices. Ensure the electrical system is protected by overcurrent protection devices of the correct size and type. The overcurrent protection devices should be tested regularly to ensure they are functioning properly. Surge protection devices are designed to protect electrical equipment from voltage surges, such as those caused by lightning strikes or power outages. Voltage surges can damage sensitive electronic equipment. Surge protection devices divert the surge current to ground, protecting the equipment from damage. Surge protection devices should be installed at the service entrance and at other strategic locations throughout the electrical system. The surge protection devices should be inspected regularly to ensure they are functioning properly. Electrical panels are used to distribute electrical power to different circuits throughout a building. Electrical panels should be properly labeled to identify the circuits they serve. The electrical panel should be located in an accessible location. The electrical panel should be inspected regularly to ensure it is in good condition. Wires and cables are used to carry electrical current from one point to another. Wires and cables should be properly sized for the amount of current they will carry. Wires and cables should be protected from physical damage. Wires and cables should be installed in accordance with the NEC. Electrical boxes are used to enclose electrical connections. Electrical boxes should be properly sized for the number of conductors they will contain. Electrical boxes should be securely mounted. Electrical boxes should be installed in accordance with the NEC. Electrical components such as switches, receptacles, and lighting fixtures should be listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory. Electrical components should be installed in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Electrical components should be inspected regularly to ensure they are functioning properly. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By following safe work practices and taking precautions when working with electricity, you can help to prevent electrical accidents. If you are not qualified to perform electrical work, hire a licensed electrician. A licensed electrician has the training and the experience to perform electrical work safely and correctly. Remember to always prioritize safety when working with electricity.